welcome to Ellen Ruth Soap. It's Ellen back here and we're diving right in today. I've got a busy soap day ahead. We're jumping right into this and I'm so excited because autumn is my favorite season of the year. And even though at the time of filming this, it's August in Middle Tennessee, that means hot and humid, but I've got to think a season ahead. So today, you got to kick off autumn with pumpkin, pumpkin everything, right? So what I have here is 4 ounces of organic pumpkin puree, pure pumpkin puree. You can get it at the grocery store, wherever. Get a nice organic pumpkin on Amazon. Just make sure it's the pure pumpkin and not the pumpkin pie mix. You don't want that. So there it is. It's wonderful. It's going to go in here. It's going to be a goat milk and oil. So we've got goat milk. This is going to be very foodie inspired. For the pumpkin color today, let me hit that before I get into the fragrance. I'm going to use a combination of this tangerine mica from Be Scented, which is a gorgeous orange, along with a little of my organic turmeric powder, because this kind of browns up when it saponifies to a beautiful pumpkiny orange. So these two together are going to make the base of the soap, the pumpkin base, and the fragrance is going to be pumpkin cheesecake from Nature's Garden. Now, this had some really mixed reviews from the people that wrote reviews. Some people said it accelerated trace, but the little soap demo video that they had for this, where they tested this fragrance, it didn't accelerate. But I'm not really going to do a swirl today anyway, so I'm not super concerned about that. It does have a high vanillin content, but they said it only discolors to a light beige, which I find very interesting. So what I'm going to do, because I have never worked with this fragrance in soap before, is I'm going to only fragrance the pumpkin bottom layer of this bar, and then I'm going to pull off a little on top. Where is it? There it is. For some piped like whipped cream topping, and I'll be using white champagne mica powder for the top, and that will be unfragranced, so that if there is discoloration like I think there's going to be, it won't matter, because I really want that nice whipped cream topping on here. So pumpkin cheesecake is the fragrance. It smells divine. I'm really hoping it behaves because it smells fantastic. So with all that being said, it's time to get additives in my soap. And what I'm going to do is add the pumpkin puree right on in the oils here. All right, I'm going to add the pumpkin puree and everything, and with the white mica, I think that it will lighten up the top. So I'm hoping it won't discolor the whipped topping too much, but I want it in everything. And I have water discounted to make room for this volume of pumpkin puree and the goat milk from my lye solution. You got to think about all those things. When you add a puree to your soap, you have to treat it like a liquid. So that came out of the liquid volume. Here is my goat milk, so foodie and good. And now I've got to add my colloidal oats. That's foodie too, isn't it? 2 tablespoons, and my kaolin clay. The one thing that I am doing different in this soap is I normally put cane sugar in my lye solution. Well, I left the cane sugar out because of the pumpkin has a lot of natural sugars. That will be a really good lathering booster in there. So, and the fragrance said it, got some accelerated reviews, so I didn't want to mess around with the sugar in the lye. So the only sugar is going to be that pumpkin. Let me get this blended in, and I'll go grab my lye solution when it's cooled, and we'll get moving forward. All right, we're ready to move forward. I have my white dispersed in a little distilled water here for the unscented portion. And I do have some pumpkin pie spice that I might just sprinkle over the top of all the piping. I just have an open tip piping tip to do little dollops of whipped cream on top. And the pumpkin pie spice, I think it's a combination of nutmeg, ginger, cinnamon, clove, I don't know, something like that. It just smells really good. And I'll just put a little sprinkle on top. So I have my orange and turmeric already pre-mixed in some oil off to the side here so it can blend in smoothly. And I got my fragrance off to the side. Here's my lye solution, which is water, tussa silk, and sodium lactate with the sodium hydroxide. No sugar in here today. So I'm going to add this in and just get up to a nice light trace, pour off my little white part, and then we'll get to that fragrance, and hopefully it will behave, but it's just one color, so let's, you're coming with me. Let's see how it goes here. And again, with the pumpkin and the goat milk in there, this is going to get hot. So when I get this molded, I will have to keep an eye on it and make sure it doesn't overheat. I do want gel phase, but I don't want to overheat. All right, this did set up pretty fast. I would call it a fast moving fragrance, but it was, I had time to get it in there. So here's my frosting, and I'm actually going to just flood the top of this with some of this cream color, and then I'll come in with the piping bag after this is thickened up. But I thought this would look pretty and make a nice even top. So while I'm waiting for my frosting to firm up enough to pipe, I figured I'd show you how I test it. Obviously, the peaks are flopping over, but it's holding on. Here's how I do the side test. I just put it on here, and if it holds on the side without dripping down, it's ready. So this is still dripping down. It's not ready yet. It wouldn't hold a peak, and what's the point in piping it if it's not going to hold the shape you pipe down? So give it a few more minutes, and we'll come back and test it again, and hopefully it'll be ready to go. All right, it's about 5 minutes later, and it's holding on the side. So I'm going to get it in the piping bag, and let's get to dolloping the top of our pumpkin cheesecake, pumpkin pie, pumpkin cheesecake, I'm not sure. Let's get to it. All right, it's the next day, and I've already peeked at this because I was checking it for overheating. Oh my golly, kind of looks like eggnog, doesn't it? But the little middle things collapsed. This did overheat a lot. It didn't crack on the top because I did watch it, but my little center ones kind of look like little patty pans. I don't know why they did that. It sort of cracks me up. This smells fantastic today though. So anyway, looks like eggnog on top of this pumpkin cheesecake. Hey, maybe that's kind of cool, right? We can just roll with that. All right, let's get it out of here. There's not a lot going on the inside, but I want to see how that turmeric and orange color came out. All right, it's time to cut these. I'm thinking about calling them something other than pumpkin cheesecake because they kind of just smell like pumpkin pie to me. Look at that gorgeous color. Now you can see the little ring here. It's going to darken up just a little to be that color, but that's still very pumpkin pie to me. But isn't that beautiful? So here is the little dollops that didn't turn into patty pans, and I think they're precious. So let's get this cut. And since there isn't any swirl pattern, I'm going to cut all of these into full-size bars and not have any end pieces. And not a lot going on. They smell really, really nice. I am tickled with these. Other than my little dollops in the middle that went kind of flat. So again, here's the color it's going to end up to be. Here's what it is now, but it kind of looks like sweet potatoes. To me, that looks like pumpkin pie, so I'm really loving that. Well, anyway, these are making me happy, getting me in the mood for fall a little too early. It's still hot outside, but you know, in the soap studio, it's very cool. So I can imagine a crisp autumn day right now and baked pie smell, you know, that scent that takes up your house and it smells so good. I love baking. Makes the house smell so fine. I miss having my teenagers around because I could bake and everything I made would get eaten. Now it's just my husband and I, empty nesters, and I bake and I have to freeze everything or give it away, which is fine. I like to share too, so that's always good. But I don't bake as much now that my children are grown and out of the house. Kind of miss that. Well, anyway, let me get to cutting the rest of these.